Kartilya ng Katipunan.
Written by Emilio Jacinto.
An analysis of its historical resources. Background of the author.
Emilio Jacinto is a brave young man. He is known to be both the brain and soul of Andres Bonifacio's revolutionary group, the Katipunan, or KKK for short. He has lived a life of leading and fighting for the sake of Filipino independence from Spain. Born on December 5, 1875, in Trozo, Tondo, Manila, he grew up without a father figure as his father died when he was just an infant. His father was Mariano Jacinto and his mother is Josefa Dizon. He was raised both by his mother and his uncle, Don Jose Dizon. He went to San Juan de Letran and University Santo Tomas where he decided to study law, though he was not able to finish the degree. He produced various literature in Tagalog and is knowledgeable in the Spanish and Tagalog language. He served as the fiscal advisor and secretary to the founder and leader of KKK, Andres Bonifacio. Because of his wits and intelligence, he also became the Katipunan spokesperson. Under the pen name Di Masilaw, he has written poetries, manifestos, statutes, articles, and editorials in the newspaper The Kalayaan. He has also created the Kartilya, which is a handbook or commandments of the KKK organization. Even when Bonifacio was arrested and killed by the then president of that time, Emilio Aguinaldo, he remained loyal to him. When Emilio Aguinaldo tried to recruit him to be part of his branch organization, he simply refused. His enlightened ideas have helped shape the revolution of the country. Being known as one of the heroes of the Philippines, he has truly earned the title as the soul of the Katipunan, as Bonifacio would always say.
Historical background of the document. The Kartilya ng Katipunan, which is entitled Katipunan ng mga A and B sa may nasang makisanid sa katipunang ito, is written by Emilio Jacinto, which is popularly known as the brain of the Katipunan, in 1894, 2 years after the establishment of Kataas-Taasan Kagalang-Galang Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, or also known as KKK or Katipunan, in 1892, and 4 years before the Spanish colonization in the Philippines ended. Kartilya ng Katipunan is intentionally made for the members of Katipunan or widely known as the Katipuneros. It is created in the time of Spanish colonization in the Philippines, and it served as the guidebook which introduced the members to its rules and principles upon joining the Katipunan. The document contains the 12 guiding principles and 14 teachings. The earliest reference of Kartilya is discovered in the minutes of the Supreme Assembly meeting that is held in December 24 to 25 in 1895, and it states that the manifesto or pahayag is valued at 4 kwalta per copy, and this document or the Kartilya serve as the official record of the assembly meeting, which is written by Emilio Jacinto. The Kartilya ng Katipunan is still used in first phase of revolution by Andres Bonifacio, the father of the Philippine Revolution and former president of Supreme Council of Katipunan in 1896. Andres Bonifacio wrote the Decalogue of Katipunan, which enumerate the duties of the Katipuneros, but after reading Emilio Jacinto's Kartilya, he realized that Jacinto's Kartilya is superior than his, and later adopted it as the official teachings of the Katipunan. It is believed that Kartilya is still in use in second phase of revolution by Artemio Ricarte, a Filipino general served as Chief of Staff of the Philippine Revolutionary Army in 1898, where the Spanish-American War happened. So the Kartilya at that time contains the same content or the same text transcribed in the document, but it has a different title, which is Final Declaration of Admission to the Katipunan, or in Tagalog, katapusang pamamahayag sa pagpasok sa K. All throughout the year, Kartilya ng Katipunan, with its purpose, teachings, and principles, serves as the enlightenment towards independence that taught the Filipinos to fight for their rights in the time of colonization and fight for their nation.
Content presentation and analysis of the important historical information of the document. These are the Kartilya values. A life that is not dedicated to a great and sacred cause is like a tree without a shade or a poisonous weed. A Katipunero who does not have a purpose lives a useless life. To have purpose and to know it is the essence of life because it will be our guide upon how shall we live it, be it our calling, our dreams, or our role in the family, society, and to ourselves. This purpose is inherent to our existence as human beings. Hence, it is our duty to dedicate ourselves for the achievement of our purpose so that we can live a life that is meaningful and fruitful. A good deed lacks virtue if it springs from a desire for personal profit and not from a sincere desire to do good. A deed carried out for the sake of fame is not worthy of praise. It simply stresses the importance of goodwill and genuine heart in everything that we do. If things are done for the selfish interest, it lacks truthfulness and true virtue. If things done are driven by true desire to do good, it is more fulfilling and meaningful no matter how big its outcome. Also, doing good deeds should be done humbly and intended not for popularity. True charity resides in acts of compassion, in love for one's fellow men, and in making true reason the measure of every move, deed, and word. True act of kindness for a Katipunero is in the love and service he rendered to other people and not the other way around. It highlights that the center of true kindness is the goodwill towards your fellow men. Doing good things for other purpose is just a mere goodwill, but doing good things for the betterment or for the sake of other people is goodwill with true kindness and virtue. A Katipunero must always bear in mind that kindness is not measured by what you do, but for whom you do it without expecting in return. Whether skin dark or pale, all men are equal. One can be superior to another in knowledge, wealth, and beauty, but not in being. Every Katipuneros are treated equally no matter what race or educational background he has. It is our being that truly defines our existence and how we will be treated, not our possessions and physical distinction. In the society that embodies the spirit of equality, everyone's uniqueness and special characteristics are merely acknowledged, but they are all treated based on their being. Hence, they are treated equally for they are the same human being. Personal identity, social status, and physical appearance can never justify unequal treatment to people. A person with a noble character values honor above self-interest, while a person with an ignoble character values self-interest above honor. A true Katipunero values honor more than his personal interest. Being an honored man is the main character of a Katipunero. It is correlated with the principle of the second and third tenet, where helping for fellow men has given more importance than helping for self-interest, and true kindness valued over kindness disguised as means of getting public harm. In this tenet, it simply says that the nobility of a person is measured by his choice. If he chooses honor for the society over the fulfillment of his selfish agenda. An honorable man's word is his bond. A Katipunero who has a sense of shame must be a man of his word. If we do not want to be humiliated, we should always watch our promises and abide by our words, because these do not only imply our attitude towards fulfilling promises, but also shows how we treat our responsibility for that particular word that we voice out. Trust begets trust. Lies begets lies. And breaching of promise leads to losing honor. We are therefore honored not just by actions, but also through our words and how we abide any these words. Don't waste time. Lost wealth may be recovered, but time lost is lost forever. A Katipunero must give importance to time. For the
It supports
Katipunan,
the famous
a time
line,
that is lost will never be back. It supports the famous line, time is gold. It is essentially applicable to all of us, but only few master this principle. Every second passed can never be back, so we have to invest our time properly without compromising our happiness. This tenet is very important for us to master because we always tend to run after wealth, wants, and persons, but we unknowingly wasting time to those things that are not a real priority as of the moment.
Defend the oppressed and fight the oppressor. It means to defend the weak against tyrants. To fight for what is right, despite the weak being at disadvantage. We could all fight against our oppressors if we all help and comport together. For the goal of a Katipunero is to fight against the unjust and unfair treatment of the Spaniards with the goal of protecting the human rights of Filipinos. An intelligent man is he who takes care in everything that he says and keeps quiet about what must be kept secret. Main point of this value is trust, where one shares his own secret with the belief that the other person shall not disclose this information to other people outside of their trusted groups. Katipuneros must pledge not to betray one another by spreading their plan or disclosing important information that states the well-being of Filipinos against the Spaniards. The act of being confidential is practiced. A Katipunero must think before he speaks so that the information will not be impulsively disclosed. Along the thorny path of life, the man leads the way, and his wife and children follow. If the leader goes the way of perdition, then so do those who are led. A father of a family is considered to be the role model. For whatever he may do, they copy. For whatever he may say, they'll believe. And for whatever he fights for, shall be followed. A righteous and true Katipunero is like that of a father, knows the right path to take his family so that they will not astray. If he goes to the right path, then his family will be righteous. But if he chose to be evil, his family shall also be the same and be brought with him. Do not regard a woman as a mere plaything, but as a helpmate and a partner in the hardship of this existence. Have due regard to her weakness, and remember the mother who brought you into this world, and nurtured you in your infancy. This value is about respecting women. A woman should not be objectified, nor should be considered to fill in for men's carnal desires. If he does not respect woman, then he does not respect his own mother. Women should be given love and care as they do when they gave birth to children. What you would not want done to your wife, daughter, and sister, do not do to the wife, daughter, and sister of another. Do not do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. Your action has a corresponding reaction or consequences. If you wish your family members to be respected, then respect your fellow men's wife, children, brothers, and sisters. Do not do anything bad against them if you do not want them to do anything bad unto you and your own family. A man's worth does not come from him being a king, or in the height of his nose and the whiteness of his face, or in him being a priest, a representative of God, or in his exalted position on the face of this earth. Pure and truly noble is he who, though born in the forest and able to speak only his own tongue, behaves decently, is true to his word, has dignity and honor, who is not an oppressor and does not abet oppressors, who knows how to cherish and look after the land of his birth. This value states that a man is not someone who has authority, nor does he have the looks, or if he is a priest or follows the word of God in every shape and form, but rather he is a man who is kind and has a sense of honor. A Katipunero is a man who keeps his own word and remembers to always help those who are weak and do not take any orders from his oppressors. A Katipunero must have love for his native land, no matter what kind of status he has in his life or what material things that he may have possessed. When these doctrines have spread, and the brilliant sun of beloved liberty shines on these poor islands, and shed its sweet light upon a united race, a people in everlasting happiness, then the lives lost, the struggle, and the suffering will have been more than recompense. The last principle shows what the KKK, Andres Bonifacio, and Emilio Jacinto hope to see in the future. A future that is bright and free from shackles caused by the unjust and unfair treatment given by the Spaniards. It shows a sense of hope for our motherland, and once this freedom is attained, all the deaths and sacrifices were not in vain.
The pledge form with the essential readings of aspiring Katipunan member.
The contribution and relevance of the document in understanding the grand narrative of Philippine history. Emilio Jacinto's Kartilya revealed the ideologies and principles of Katipunan that later on shows the need of the Filipino to fight for independence during the 19th century. With this document, it can be concluded that first, the principles and teachings of the document are important formula in living our lives to the fullest by incorporating the good values within ourselves. The principles and teachings elaborated are not just an important formula for people during the Spanish colonization to achieve independence, but it also applies to our lives up to the current time. If the good act starts within oneself, the society around him benefits from it. Also, since the leader of a nation is the one that people or his followers look up to, he should not abuse his power and authority to take advantage of his subjects. Second, the women during the Spanish rule were deprived of their rights. Because on the principles of the Kartilya emphasized that women should be treated not as objects. This simply implies that the views on women during the later time had been changed. They deserve to be treated right just like other human beings, or just like men. Third, whatever the status of the person in the society is, whether rich or poor, what color of the skin that he has, and whether one is a man or a woman, everyone is equal. This one emphasized the equality, because during the earlier times, especially during the Spanish colonization, not all people are treated equally. This leads from a new ideology that everyone should be treated right and the same as the other human beings. Fourth, every citizen, especially the Filipinos, deserve to live a life free from oppression and fight on behalf of the oppressed and to fight the oppressor. The principles of the Kartilya give way to make people realize that they should fight for their country of their own. They should fight for the Spanish, which are the oppressors. As a fellow Filipino citizen, one of the purposes of being a Filipino citizen is to fight for each other from oppressors and to fight for our country. Lastly, the Filipinos' need for participation and support with the fellow Filipinos to fight for the independence from the Spanish rule leads to the current independence or freedom that we are currently experiencing today. The most important contribution is that this led for the Filipinos to become aware of their current situation and to fight for the independence that we Filipinos during this time of the day are experiencing or enjoying freedom.
Learning experiences. Upon reading the document, we have learned the essence and importance of Kartilya to the Filipinos, especially to the Katipuneros at the time of Spanish colonization in the Philippines. Kartilya serves as the key way to enlighten the Filipinos to have an independent country. This document helped us define our novel Katipuneros in different aspects, and these governing rules also serve as one of our bases in achieving our goals as how it functioned in achieving the purpose of Katipunan. Values written herein kept the Katipuneros binded and guided them in fighting for our independence from the Spaniards. In addition, we've learned from Kartilya the various principles of a Katipunero. The Kartilya does not only apply to the Katipuneros back then, but this also applies to our country's leaders. These principles shows what being a true and righteous leader is, and how the KKK, Andres Bonifacio, and Emilio Jacinto wished to see the future countrymen embodied. Lastly, we've learned that in times of ill treatment, whether by other nation, by other nationality, or by other persons, the urge to fight for our rights deep rooted in our hearts emerge as we are continuously taken advantage of. We know that we deserve right and justice will prevail. Kartilya ng Katipunan, written by Emilio Jacinto. An analysis of its historical resources.